Hello guys and welcome, it is ThatSrb2DUDE here today bringing you yet another Splatoon 2 video. Today we got a quick tip analysis on the Splattershot Pro. Now the Splattershot Pro is a mid to long range shooter. It has a fairly decent fire rate and its shots are very accurate. One of the things that lets it down is that its ink coverage is fairly mediocre, where it can leave lots of gaps in puddles. The Splattershot Pro is a 3-shot kill weapon. It can also apply 42 damage per direct hit. When putting fall-off damage into account, this weapon can put a minimum of 21 damage. The Splattershot Pro has fairly good mobility when coming in and out of the ink when shooting. This is a common thing when it comes to a majority of shooters in the game, so there's no surprise or anything really special about this here. The Splattershot Pro in Splatoon 2 is lucky enough to have 3 different loadouts in this game. The first one, of course, being the Splattershot Pro, which has the sub-weapon of Point Sensor, which will locate an enemy to give you a better visual of where the opponent is standing. You also have the special weapon Ink Storm, which will set off a rain cloud of ink and will move forward in the direction of where you throw it. This can also apply some damage while progressing. The second kit is the Forged Splattershot Pro. The sub-weapon for this weapon is a suction bomb, which of course is a bomb that can basically stick onto anything. And then you also have the special weapon Bubble Blower, which will allow you to throw 3 bubbles that can also set off a large explosion. Lastly, we have the Kensa Splattershot Pro, where the sub-weapon is Splat Bomb, which is a bomb, of course, that you can roll on the floor. And you also have the special weapon Booyah Bomb, which will launch you into the air to power up a massive ball, much like a Spirit Bomb from Dragon Ball Z, where you charge up by pressing the Booyah button to then throw, setting off a nuke-like explosion wave. These are a couple of my general builds when it comes to the Splattershot Pro. Bear in mind, for the vanilla Splattershot Pro and Kensa Splattershot Pro, it's pretty much recommended for you to run 3 mains and 4 subs of main power up to get your damage up to 49.9 damage. This will allow you to 2-shot enemies that have taken a feather of damage. For the Forged Splattershot Pro, on the other hand, it's better to actually play for the bubbles more in general. So you may run a build that has some special power up to complement the bubbles to, of course, make them bigger. Compared to the regular Splattershot Pro and the Kensa variant, the Splattershot Pro is considered a midline, but how it's been played now, it is pretty much a slayer. This weapon has the ability to be able to play aggressively and defensively. You can be aggressive with this weapon with the amount of pressure that you can apply, as it does have a decent fire rate, has a lot of range, and has a lot of damage at the same time. If you're accurate enough with this weapon, trust me, no enemy is going to want to stay in your line of sight. All the specials force the enemy to actually move out of certain positions, which can basically highly disrupt enemies that are trying to hold certain areas. When playing this weapon defensively, it can anchor pretty well against short-range weapons. As I said before, if you're in the line of sight of this weapon, you're probably not going to want to be there, and this mainly applies to any sort of short-range weapon. So you should be able to hold certain areas if you're making sure to keep them away with your range. And again, with the specials, it forces enemy movement, and in a defensive scenario, it will be forcing the enemies to not go where you don't want them to go. So let's say your enemies are trying to get onto the splat zone or something, or the tower. You basically use your special on that specific objective to delay the enemies to actually go there in the first place. Now, there's a lot of things to talk about with the Splattershot Pro, but to make it work, you need to make sure that you have paint on the floor, which is a thing that the Splattershot Pro does not do well. The Splattershot Pro is basically made to kill with all the statistics that it does have. It does require a little bit of accuracy to be able to perform this, but it won't be able to do this if it doesn't have the ground to fight on. Which is also one important thing I think if you are using a Splattershot Pro should keep in mind. You should try to make sure that you do have ground to fight on in certain situations. You can of course go into enemy areas where there's a bunch of ink and it may be a little bit of a disadvantage, but overall this weapon is pretty reliable with its accuracy, even sometimes when jumping. I also say one thing where this weapon probably would not be picked compared to other slayers, is that it's harder to apply perks like quick respawn or stealth jump in particular which is two perks that are really good for Slayers in general. This is probably one of the reasons for why some people wouldn't pick this weapon over like an L3 nozzle nose or Splattershot, mainly because you need a lot of main power up to actually make this weapon work. If you're the type that's not going to die too much, then you probably wouldn't have an issue with not running stealth jump and quicker spawn. But it's definitely something to look into when choosing a certain type of Slayer to run. Thank you very much everyone for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to follow all my socials, which are in the description below. Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, and my Discord. And don't forget to like the video to support the channel and the series. Also, don't forget to leave a comment to tell me what you think of the video. Thank you guys for watching, and I shall see you guys in a future one.